Yo, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? Today I'm going to be showing you how to do ragdoll poses in gmod. Now this is not going to be just an overview on how to do the basics. This will also be an overview on how to make them look natural, how to make them feel human, basically not make them feel like you're pretty much just posing a quite literal corpse. So without further ado, let's get started. So for reference, I'm going to be using the Sonic ragdolls since I'm most familiar with them. But let's see what we can use. We can use classic Sonic no quills. Basically, no quills is kind of like the model for where the spine stays still. Now, posing is actually a lot easier than you think, but that is if you're not going for details. Now, a tool I do really recommend for the ragdoll posing purpose is the standing tool, or shall we say the stand pose. It basically means that you don't have to do the manual labor of making the character stand still and actually look good. You can just right click, stand pose, and you're good to go. You get the good old T-pose. So now that we have our ragdoll on set, let's give it a little pose. Now getting the ragdoll posed, you basically just unfreeze each one of these joints and eventually this does take time though, so take your time, do something with it, and hopefully you'll get something good. So we've got our random quick little pose here. So now let's introduce ourselves to the tools that you'll need to pose the ragdolls. Now we've got the eye poser, the face poser, and the finger poser. These are going to be your main, most important tools. So basically what each one of these does, the eye poser, basically it poses the eyes. The face poser, basically you have control the emotions of your specific ragdoll. And the finger poser, well, you pose the fingers. So I recommend the most to start with the face poser because it gives you the best idea what to do next with the eye poser and the finger poser. So for this case scenario, we've got a whole bunch of options, and one of them that we're going to use is the hide eyelids, which basically hides the eyelids. Now you see the eyes, they look a little too wrong. You see they're supposed to be a little more in the center, but we'll fix that with the eye poser, which we'll see later on. Let's give them a quick little smile like that. And I think we're done. So now let's get onto the eye poser. Now the eye poser, you can see it did something. It centered the eyes, but this is not exactly what we want. So we're gonna place them in the center and we're gonna see the options that we have. Strabismus, however you pronounce it, is basically the distance between the two eyes. So for example, right now it's at -53. This could be big. You can make them derpy like this. You can make them invisible. You can make them straight in the center like this, like one eye. So in size of all eyes, it's basically the size of all the eyes that you would have in the ragdolls. This basically means this also includes the other ragdolls that you have posed, not just this one, because as it says here, it's a global setting. So for now, I think we could use the Strabismus to set it to around 0.48, and we're gonna pose the eyes like this. So I think this is good. So now we're gonna go to the finger poser, which is a little tricky to control, so bear with me on this. So right now we have the finger poser, and each one of these basically controls each individual finger. And the blue ones basically means that you can move them in one side. You cannot move them, for example, left to right. You can just move them up and down. This can be fixed by disabling the restrict access, but use this only if you need to. It only makes your life difficult if you use it if unnecessary. So I think we should do some kind of victory sign with this. So you can pose the finger, say, to do the victory sign for now, like that. So we've done our own little victory sign here, but there is a small problem. Notice how these fingers, they don't look all that right. So what you're gonna do is basically do some minor adjustments. Like for example, with this, we don't have to have it like this, and we can also lift this one up just a little bit. But then if we look from the back, you can see this finger is kind of twisted like this. So to fix this, that's where this feature called restrict access being disabled comes in handy. You can pretty much just now then pose these fingers to be in a different direction like this, and this kind of fixes the issue that we had at hand. And basically, yeah, that looks much better. So we can re-enable this again for convenience, and we can now pose this finger as well. Now as for how to make it look natural, basically don't make it look like it's encircling the finger, for example. Basically what you're supposed to do is make it look like the top half is up, the upper half is like the diagonal, and then the lower half is somewhat straight on. So we've made our victory sign here. Now let's get to this side here. Now what we're going to be doing here is a basic fist. Now to do a fist, you're just gonna move these fingers in one direction and then do, if necessary, adjustments to make it look natural. Now for most human-like say characters, like I don't know, for most characters that are rigged on and act a more human-like, I don't know, appearance, I don't think you need to do this. But for more cartoony characters like this, you will definitely need to do it. It's just the way it is. It looks normal at first, but you can see again this finger's protruding. We don't want that. So we can fix this by disabling the restrict access, moving this like this, moving this slightly like this, and we get ourselves a much more normal looking fix. We can also fix this like that. And there we go. Now this looks like a much more normal fist, and now we can re-enable this again and basically just do this here. There we go. So we get ourselves a really nice fist. Now you can also make some adjustments later on if you don't like something. For example, I think these eyes are a little too wide. He looks a little shell-shocked, so I'm going to fix that by basically adjusting the strabismus to, say, I don't know, 50. I think 50 is the ideal. You can also pose the eyes however you want. I say I like them like this. And now you're just going to use the camera tool to take a picture of it. Now the camera basically works, you press right click, you can zoom in, zoom out, you can rotate whichever direction you want. And I'm just going to zoom in, normal orientation, and take the picture, which you do with the left click. Now other useful tools that you could use for ragdoll posing include the ragdoll mover, which basically is a more advanced mover for the ragdoll. Basically, if you want to move the joints, you've got the ragdoll mover itself. Basically, this one is quite literally just with the arrow keys. Now this is useful if you're using the stop motion helper, but for my case, yeah, I don't really need it if I'm being honest. So that's it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to like, and if you want more videos from me, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.